Welcome to Forever Exiled, a Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Episode 119. We are recording this on January 14th, 2022. I'm just reading what you've got here. This is what I do. Episode 119, though.
It is, yeah. Huzzah!
We made it. This was the number. This is what we were shooting for.
That's right.
119.
You know what that means? That means
We're
BK's coming up soon. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. BK's coming. That's right. That too.
If we're done, we got to wait until after we have BK, and then we're done.
Yes, 121. She will be joining us.
I was thinking we probably shouldn't be done until we hit a 4-digit rep digit.
The first one is 1,111.
I'm in.
All right. There's the goal. Jesus.
We should do the math, find out when that would be if we were actually able to be consistent. How old will we be? Yeah, right?
Yeah, I need to get a light in here. Hey, it's kind of dark.
That's all right.
Big shout out to our patrons.
Sexy.
You guys are awesome. Thank you for supporting the podcast. New patron this week, AEIOUY, also known as Vowels. Thank you for joining the crew. Everybody else, you are super awesome. Thanks for supporting us. If you're curious what Patreon is, it gets you access to our After Dark, which is an additional podcast after this podcast. More of me and Tyler talking about stuff and things.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep. Sweet intro music, obviously, to that one as well. But yeah, thank you for your support. You guys are super awesome, and we appreciate you.
Yes, we do very much. So thank you very much. It's been COVID's been around for a while, hey? And on our Discord that we have, I was noticing some chat this week just about like, I don't know, I guess people were being pretty honest about how COVID's impacted them, and they were talking a little bit about politics, a little bit about, you know, the healthcare systems wherever they're from, right? Like there's people all over the world in our Discord. And, you know, there's like, it's, you know, some people are talking about, like we talk to these people on a regular basis in our Discord, but some of them are like saying, you know, I've worked 6 months out of the last 24 months because of how COVID's impacted me in my life. And other people are like, you know, I got vaccinated so that I could keep my job, but then I get laid off anyway. You know, like there's a lot of, you know, like it impacts us all in very different ways. Some of us have lost people. Some of us are merely inconvenienced by it, but we're in a big, you know, global community here with how it's impacted us. And so just throwing it out there, this isn't like a promo thing. We don't care if our Discord is big or small. We're not using it to promote us. But if you feel like, you know, there's like, you don't really have a community, or like what the life you were used to is, I don't know, gone, or it's like things are confusing. Like we have a whole bunch of people in our Discord that are happy to talk about everything and anything. They're kind and patient, you know, in terms of like, you know, if you have different political opinions or whatever it is you're talking about, like you can have those conversations. I'm just letting you know that if like COVID's been around for 2 years now, and if you're like just at wit's end and you just need people to hang out with, even though it's digitally, you're welcome and you'll be loved on our Discord. Just throwing it out there. It's been like 2 years for almost everyone in the world. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm done with it.
Yes, me too, for sure.
Had enough.
But we don't choose that. So if you're kind of at wit's end and you just need to feel like chit-chatting, or you need a good like splash of gifts, not gifts, GIFS, no T, we're good for that. And we'll make you feel loved. So anyway.
Yeah, Discord is fun.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we have great people there. How was your week, Just?
My week was great. I had a good week. We are kind of getting back into the swing of things, getting back after New Year's and Christmas and all that kind of stuff. I am trying to like actually think. I don't think I had anything fun really to talk about. It was a normal week. Work is starting to pick up. I'm going to be absolutely hammered until end of February. So it's like going to be
drunk,
nuts,
right?
Work-wise. I wish it was, I wish it was on the drunk side. No, it's going to be nuts until end of February, but I like being busy. I like this kind of busy. There's certain busies that are good and certain busies that are not. And I'm excited because the league's coming out soon. Mm-hmm. But my week wasn't, we had, the kids are in school.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, which is awesome.
It is.
Oh, thank God they didn't like do anything silly and send them home. And my one daughter actually stayed home yesterday, my 7-year-old, because our girls share a room. They have quite a large room and they share a room. And so for some reason, we thought it was a good idea to put they both have like these princess beds, and they were convinced they wanted to share a bed. So we took the little night table out between their beds and put their beds together.
Yeah.
awful decision because the two of them loved it. And so they just were like, well, screw sleep. We're just going to do whatever we want. And so like one of them would sleep right in the crack between the two beds, and she would like build it up with pillows. And we just realized they were not getting great sleep. So we split them up. They had been like that for months. It's taking a bit for their bodies to understand that there's no longer this connection between their beds while they're sleeping.
Are they falling out?
Yes. And she fell out, and I saw, and I got a notification that something had happened. So I go to check on her, and I don't recognize anything, but I look and I'm like, hey, are you okay? Like, you fell out of bed. Well, she's completely asleep, and she is one of those people who will not wake up when something happens.
Your 7-year-old?
And she sits up. Yeah, she sits up and she just stares right at me. She's like, what? I'm like, you just fell out of bed. Are you okay? She's like, what? Like, she's not making any sense at all. And I'm like, just go to bed. She wakes up in the morning. No, she got up at 3. She fell out again at like 3 in the morning. And so then she comes into our room, and my wife wakes me up and she's like, what happened to her? And I'm like, well, she fell out earlier. I don't know. And she had I'm not even kidding. Her lip is like the size of her fist. Because I guess when she fell, she hit it on the corner of the bed, and the teeth just went like right into it. Well, she looked like she had a baseball in her lower right of her lip. And I was like, well, like, we can't really send her to school like that, especially because when you ask her what happened, she's saying, I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, that looks good on you, right?
My dad said I fell out of bed. So she just hung out with my youngest daughter at my mother-in-law's. So yeah, my week it was fine. It was just family stuff, hanging out. We've been playing Uno still, and Phase 10. Have you ever played? Did we ever play Phase 10 with you?
I don't think I've played with you. I've played it. Yeah, it's a specialty. Like, you have to use their cards.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, you do. It's fun. We've been playing it with my 12-year-old. He's been big into it. And then it's funny. So he is playing basketball. He's on the basketball team at school.
Nice.
For Christmas, we got him some basketball shoes. He wanted some. He's always wanted shoes because I have shoes, but I'm like, you're getting Walmart shoes, kid. Like, I see what you do to your shoes. I'm not spending that kind of money on shoes for you. Well, we bought him some LeBron's really nice shoes, and he would have, I said, you can take them for basketball, and then after basketball's done, then you can wear them, whatever. But for now, just, use them just for basketball.
Yeah.
And so he came home from a practice yesterday, and I was like, so how was it? He's like, oh, it was awesome. It was really good, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, how are the shoes? And he's like, I can jump so high now. Everybody is jealous. I'm like, yeah, okay, sweet.
Awesome.
So
worth every penny.
Yeah, man, it was a work and family week. We've been mostly just hanging out. I have been playing some Borderlands 3 on my little bit of off time that I've had, but it's just been a normal week. How about you? How's your week?
Oh, it was good. It was good. It's funny that your bed's hurting your kids, because my son, when he was younger, his first set of stitches came from a bed accident. Him and my daughter were playing tug of war with something, and she yanked super hard. He didn't want to lose. He got pulled over to her bed and smacked his chin. I think his first set of stitches was on his chin, right on the corner. And so, yeah, it's fun. Love bed injuries, right? I mean, the injuries get different as you get older, but when you're a kid, they're nice and innocent. Anyway, no, I had a good week too. It was a normal week, right? But how nice is it that school's back in order? You have like the routine set. You can be efficient with your house again. I miss having the kids around, but I love hearing about their days and stuff like that. Like, my daughter's one of those people that, like, she's in grade 3 and she hasn't attached to anyone. She loves the fantasy world that she lives in. Like, if this keeps up, she will be the happiest 40-year-old in some sort of fantasy world. Like, I mean, it's normal kid stuff, right? But it's hilarious. Like, she hasn't latched on to anyone and she's in grade 3. My son latched on, and this other kid latched on to each other in kindergarten, and they're in the same grade 1 class. They're in grade 1 now. And they're just like, you cannot separate them. And they live relatively close. And so we sometimes were able to walk home with them or walk to school. Not often, but it's it's funny to see the contrast and stuff. And I like that. That's kind of the things you don't see about your kids until you get them to school and get back into the routine. I ask my daughter how her day is, and she's like, great. And then she starts telling me about something that happened in some like thing that she's pretending while she was doing recess by herself. And then my son's obviously saying about all this stuff that he's learning about his friends' families. And so it's fun. but we had all that big snow and ice that we've been complaining about for the last couple episodes. It's gone, and it went fast. It was just all of a sudden it was like 8 to 10 degree weather with rain warnings, of course. So what our area was expected to get about 150 millimeters, 15 centimeters within a day and a half, which was what flooded us the second time around back in November. No, maybe that was the first time. Anyway, whatever. I get the dates mixed up now. So obviously my wife and I were worried about this 15 centimeters of rain with a perimeter drain that doesn't work. But now we have like this 9 inches of snow and ice that is also going to melt on top of that. And we're like, oh no, it's going to happen again. We're going to get backtracked even more. Didn't happen. The pump was amazing. We got it. We got it. So things aren't destroyed yet. Like we still have to wait for our walls to get taken out, but things are progressing really well with the house, which is nice. And it's nice. Hopefully the snow is gone. I know February is still coming, but hopefully the snow is gone. But yeah, it was a good week. A nice normal week. It was nice. Like for people that aren't from our area, our winters are normally green and rainy, but around 5 to 10 degrees. We'll get snow for about a week. So it's nice. It feels nice to have a green winter again. But anyway, yeah, thanks for asking. It was good. Oh, before we get into how this week went in PoE, there was something I wanted to bring up. Last week we were talking about it's such an easy what's it called? You know, in Dark Souls when you're leveling up and then past 40 for damage, it starts lowering your return. What's that called? We used the term
diminishing returns.
Yes. Thank you. So last week we were talking about diminishing returns with defenses and a lot of other things. And it came up because you were talking about aura reservation efficiency. So, and then part of that was also we were talking kind of like rummaging around the idea of why GGG deletes bug reports. And so we got...
We're on 2 separate topics, but yes. Oh, are these? Yes, you're
so
right. But
we ended up getting a message from someone who seemed to be quite well informed with how it all worked. I don't know if they work for the company or not. Maybe it sounded kind of like it, which would be kind of neat. But they responded with an interesting perspective that, of course, like you mentioned, there's so much we don't know as to why GGG would remove bug reports. But I want to call this out ahead of time because, of course, now we're more informed about it. And apparently, any crash, not specific crashes, but any crash has the potential to be a gateway issue within a network, and it's an easy way to deploy malware.
Yeah, there was a very detailed information that we received that was great to read. There's some things that happen where you just kind of feel dumb. That was one of them. When I read it, I was like,
yeah, it was an awesome
okay,
message.
I'm an idiot. I appreciated the first part, like, because that part I understood, where they were actually like, oh,
talking about
podcasts and blah, blah, blah. Then the second part, I read it and I was like, wow, I kind of thought I was relatively good at this stuff, but that description was awesome. It was great to hear from somebody. And also, regarding diminishing returns, there was a comment that I had made that while I was editing, I was like, wow, you're an idiot, Justin. Like, it wasn't the point I was trying to make, but I think I just got caught up in our conversation that I said it. And I was laughing to myself. I'm like, well, for future times when I hear that, I'm going to add, this is editor Justin just speaking now.
Yeah, I realize I'm wrong. Yeah, so anyway.
I'm going to leave. I did leave it in because people make mistakes and, we can't all be right.
Yeah.
And we're fine with that. That's okay.
We don't remove our stupidity. When we edit, we take out our fun sounds like, I don't know if you can hear that. Justin will just take that out. Yeah. That's what right. We edit. We don't actually change what we say. We like to
make the listening experience kind to your ears because we're right inside your head. And we like to be, okay, Tyler's wrecking it, but anyway, we don't tend to take out our errors because we're going to make them and we appreciate when people point them out nicely.
But and that was an awesome message. But it was just kind of weird to me. Like I've worked, a big part of my, life, employment history is in the video game industry, all surrounding bugs. And I didn't know that. I mean, maybe it's just that specific.
A lot of times though, it was
GGG.
like you find the bug and you report the bug, but it's not always where you understand like what the bug, what other potential there is for those kind of bugs, especially crash. I don't know.
Yeah. Crashes, so apparently with this setup, maybe it's for every setup, I don't know, but any crash is a potential gateway to deploy malware. So that's why a lot of the crash bugs are removed, apparently. So that was really interesting to learn. Yeah. Now, there's something I want to I've been wanting to throw this in for forever, but it doesn't match anything. So I'm going to pretend it's in this week, that it happened this week in PoE, but it actually happened 5 years ago. And who knows if it was around this time or not.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this Reddit post was
Awesome.
a response by Rory, who works at GGG. We've all seen him on wraeclast and other interviews, like on the.
He's not a guest. Just careful. He's not a guest on this episode.
I screwed that up last time. That was a bad
No,
title.
it wasn't.
That.
It was fine. The title was fine.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
So anyway, this is about a dev manifesto from like 5 years ago, right? The dev manifesto says energy, shield, and life, right? And so obviously it was a big one. And like today, communities don't really change in that regards. There's going to be people that blow up, that think it's not right, and you need the explanation. Well, Rory had the best too long to read like summary. Have you read this before? I've had it.
I'm just reading it now, and do you know the song it's to?
Yes.
That's amazing.
So he did his own little rap, like he wrote it out, but he did his own little rap to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song.
Yeah, that's really good.
Like the first.
I've never seen it before.
Oh no! Oh my goodness! It's been in our notes for forever.
First time.
So it's like I probably shouldn't do the whole thing, but it was like,
no, you really shouldn't, because
now
it's going to go
this is a story all about how ES got nerfed right into the ground, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I made our int defenses totally fair. At the top of the tree, it was nerfed and raised, and like,
we're going the whole way.
No,
Yeah.
I really wanted to. But like,
it's really
on
cool.
our niche builds is where it spent most of our days. Not min max and just trying not to be cool. If you didn't think life CI was your tool, like it was just.
If you didn't like life,
yeah. If you didn't like life CI was your tool, then Valpak and GF let it put life to shame. Started making trouble in the meta game. Ah, so good. That was a good one. Yeah, and it ends hilarious. So good. Anyway, I just wanted to shout out Rory because that was ages ago, but man. We should have him on the show so he can do the rap.
Yeah, let's rap. Do some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air rap. That is really fun.
And then he can do maybe he has a new one.
Probably.
I mean,
sure.
You have to rap out loud while you're writing it out to know if you're making sense with the beat or not, right? Like you got to do it in your head. You're like, I don't know if he has an office or if he's just sharing, an area, but it's like, imagine like being next to the guy and he's like, as he's like, what you doing? Working. Shut up. Leave me alone.
I'm making a Reddit
yeah, I'm replying to Reddit. So anyway, it was love Fresh Prince. Coming up with a new one. Our buddy Ryan was saying he's huge. They're redoing
a new Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a whole new spin-off, or like one of those weird where they get all the gang back together again and
don't know.
Oh,
but yeah.
Huh.
I think Will Smith's in it.
Really?
Yeah, because I think they were using
was
the
he
same
the new
song.
Uncle Phil? Like,
yeah, that's right. Where he's allowed to finally gain some weight. Anyway,
yeah, where does he walk around like a goofball still and do dumb things? I don't understand.
Well, hey, I mean, I actually really like that. America's Funniest Home Videos. How they have his name from Fresh Prince, Carlton. What's his real name? Anyway,
Alfonso
he's the host.
Ribeiro.
Yeah, Bob Saget just died. What a week to bring it up.
That's too bad.
I remember watching that. That's where I know Bob Saget from. I don't know him from his dirty stuff, but from his America's Funniest Home Videos.
His dirty stuff is hilarious. He was hilarious. Yeah, really too bad.
Yeah, and so anyway, Alfonso, the guy who played Carlton on America's Funniest Home Videos as the host, actually references that kind of stuff, which is kind of neat, like talking about Fresh Prince and all that. Like while he's commenting on other people's videos, you know how they do that in that show? Like you'll have like Alfonso come out and like commentate over top some of the home video. Yeah, anyway.
I don't watch. I haven't watched it in forever, so I don't know. You mean like when they talk over top of a video?
Yeah, when he himself talks over top of the video. Yeah. But anyway, this week in PoE, Rory 5 years ago was amazing.
But now we can actually get into this real week in PoE.
Yeah, and
there's a few things.
The last event of the league ended, unless they come out with more surprise ones.
This was the Delirium one. I did not hear great things about it.
No,
it's cool. No, I didn't. I heard people found it. I think we talked about it too. It's just way too overtuned. But I don't even know if this is in your thing, but I love that there was a thing about, I think someone put it in our Discord actually, that the witch, I think, the occultist, I don't remember what it was, but one of the classes or ascendancies, the top 5 winners, first place was actually a GGG employee, so they couldn't win. So everybody got bumped up one, which is, that's really cool. It doesn't surprise me that people who can like have time can play, probably play some of the events.
Yeah. Well, it puts me into perspective. Like when I'm playing, like I heard that it was insane. Like you just couldn't do damage in whatever circumstance. And so people are talking about the amount of effort that GGG is putting into their leagues. And maybe it isn't a lot, maybe it is. But at the same time, there's people that are doing it. So maybe they just expect that there's going to be a whole bunch of people that can't do this, or we expect you to skip until you get this, I don't know, or go get to this boss arena and, kill the boss, but, ignore the delirium. I don't know, like maybe that's part of the event, but there was a lot of people up there and yeah, and it was neat. But anyway, they didn't give the award to the GGG employee, but I saw some of the people that actually got rewards, like the second place person who got first said, I'm fine to give, like, did they cheat? Give them,
exactly.
give them the thing.
Yeah.
So, but I like the integrity from GGG. I think it's awesome that an employee actually did it. And I love that the second place person's just as good as the first place person. Like you don't have to work at GGG to be good at this event that a casual player like me couldn't do a thing in,
Yeah, if you had more time, like a lot of time. So I didn't actually read any further stuff into it. I just saw the post that somebody put in our Discord and I thought that was awesome. But it was funny as we're talking about it right now, I'm going, I'm just curious, just me being a bit of a dick, but I'm just curious if there were people that were like, is this why this why 317 is delayed? Because you guys are playing the game. I just feel like I could see people saying that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is why we can't play 317 on time. This is why it was delayed. Jerks playing your game.
Yeah, how dare you do something when you get home from work?
Don't have fun. Anyway, that is really cool. I thought it was fun that they actually had an employee that finished first. And in my opinion, it was probably, I didn't play many of them, but that was the one I for sure was like, nah, I don't think so.
Well, and how many times though have you seen GGG say, sorry, we're actually rewarding 5th to 10th because of GGG employees? Like it doesn't happen often. It's kind of cool, hey?
Yeah, no, it is cool.
I was thinking about this throughout the week, and I'm like, I've worked in the video game industry for quite a while. I don't think from my testing days, I could go home and play a game that I was testing. Like I tested FIFA, I tested NBA, I tested some Need for Speed stuff. There was a whole bunch of different games that were in there. Even like the original like Nokia phone games from back in the day when gaming first started coming out on those like game specific.
It could be though somebody who's not like a QA. Like a QA would be way harder, I think, to play it.
Sure, but
outside. But if you're a developer working on like one spot of it,
yeah. But that's the point. Like Path of Exile is so big with so many goals, with so many possibilities that you can do that no matter what you're working on, I could see someone like myself enjoying Path of Exile in my downtime, even though I just spent 8 to 12 hours doing that during the day. But I'm a standard player, so I already kind of reflect that, right? Let's see what else. Oh, Scourge. It's going to be one of the last times we say Scourge.
Oh, hold on. Well, they had the core supporter pack for Imperator. This is like I think this is the very first level of core supporter packs. Yeah, this was the one armor pack I actually really liked, and it's the cheapest.
It's the first one, yeah.
Yeah. It's not anything crazy with that particular one, but
if you watch our YouTubes, you'll be looking at it while you're listening.
Yep. All right, Scourge. This is not a surprise.
Were you thinking about Reddit?
Yes. Hold on. I refuse. We are not going to talk about it. It's not going to come up. However, all I want to say is I love the people who listen to our podcast. We have a huge amount of people that listen, and I love it. There's a big community on Discord. I'm just going to throw this out there because, again, I don't want to get into the conversation, but don't feel like you have to defend Tyler and I. There are such a huge majority of people who are positive. There's always going to be somebody who's negative, and we're okay with that. Don't feel the need to defend us because they're not hurting our feelings, and I think we're both relatively fine at just either ignoring it. Cry in the corner. Yeah, I don't want it to become a thing where people feel like they have to defend us. So we're fine with it. People are always going to be negative no matter what you do in life. That is unfortunately part of the internet. But yes, that is what I was thinking of. Let's move on to Scourge, though. I said this. I feel like I said this a long time ago.
You did. You and BK both called it. From way back in our BK episode, I thought it was going to happen, and you two said no.
I'm not surprised. So that basically they just announced that it's not going to go core. It's not going to be part of the core mechanic, and that they don't have any current plans to bring it back. That's like other things, though. You never know what could happen later on. but I'm quite happy. I really love the idea that somebody posted in Discord about eventually just dropping scourged maps as part of just the drop pool. That would be cool, that you could just randomly find a scourge map as you would a blighted map.
What would
I
be
would
the
be fine with
difference with the Scourge map than a normal map, though?
Well, because you can go in and out, right? There's different things that happen and that can roll
Oh,
on
so
a
you'd be
scourged
able
map.
to tab in and out per se if you
That's right.
rolled a Scourge map. Interesting. Okay.
If a Scourge map dropped or something. Because to me, Scourge maps was the best part of Scourge. They were my favorite part. The thing is, I'm not totally sure how it would work, given that you couldn't, what was the word everybody used, like crangle or something? You couldn't continue to make it higher tier or something. But if you had, I think it would be a cool thing to see in the drop pool, much like you do blighted maps. But yeah, the idea of them getting rid of Scourge, I'm okay with that. I really like the fact that GGG doesn't go, well, we put all this time into it and we think it's great. And so it's going core no matter what. And I like that they kind of are fine with taking stuff out of the core game to make room for other stuff, because the game is already very, very big. If there's a mechanic that's not working exactly how they want or hope to, I would rather see it just be a memory and it was fun. And let's see what we get next.
For sure. I don't think you'll have a lot of people that'll miss the league. I actually had no complaints regarding it. I didn't really touch it too much, though. I'm living vicariously through others. But the one thing that I don't think I'll miss is the changes to the Val system. I like the Val corruption system to be pretty permanent. I am surprised that the orbs aren't staying. I heard Beck saying if anything comes back, it's a greater chance that the currency from this league, like the tainted stuff, comes back. The taints will come back, Justin. The taints will be overloaded with taints.
I don't care about seeing those orbs back or not. I didn't use them much. I know that it was really common to use the fusings for that 50-50 chance of a 6-link. I actually never did it. And
it was
the
a
other
50-50 chance, or only once you leveled up your league?
No, it was a 50-50 chance that you would either not get a 6-link or it would turn into a 6-link. So yeah, I think someone will correct me, but I think the idea was you take, like, I don't know if it had to be a 5-link, and it was either that it would turn into a 6-link or it would lose its links. And yeah, it was a pretty high chance. So yeah, people were getting a lot of 6-links that way. But I'm fine with that. I love the idea of them taking something out that just doesn't fit, doesn't work. And then I think they also said in that announcement, but I think it came later too, that when we're going to see 317, they said in that original announcement just said early February.
Yep.
Which is good.
Yeah, it was a few days before the announcement. The really cool thing that I liked about this is it was short and sweet. They're like, it was basically, Scourge isn't going to show up anymore. It might later. Enjoy the rest of the league. Like it was just a nice short. There wasn't like any crazy announcement trying to cater to people that would absolutely love the league or trying to explain themselves. It was like, nope, not going to happen. Hope you liked it. Hope you keep enjoying it. February 4th, it's gone. Or
no, I really like that.
Yeah, it was good.
Yep.
What else do we have? Oh, well, hey. So before we check out the new expansion was teased, not revealed yet.
Yeah.
But there was the theme art. So we have been back and forth because there was a teaser that, I don't know how to say the name, but RHYS from GGG put out last week that we talked about in terms of like the map device and Keurig and stuff like that. So we start going, down the rabbit hole about all the little changes that can happen, how dramatic the mapping system might change, the Atlas system and all that kind of stuff. And so sometimes, some people are like, no, they're only going to change like the whole Keurig thing. The mapping system's not going to change. It's just Keurig. So that's why that's not going to be an issue. And other people are like, oh, they're going to get rid of maps forever. It's never going to be the same. And, it's fun to see all the different directions. So anyway, the one hint here before we actually get a big reveal, which will probably come out next week, is that's a total guess. I have no idea where that next week came from, but guaranteed next week. Heard it here first. They had favorite Atlas themed fan art from the past. And that's kind of like to me saying like, all right, it's throwback time and get ready to put the current system in the throwback drawer as well. So anyway, I thought they were really good. The theme art the Atlas themed fan art that they posted was really good.
the actual post says, "We can't wait to share the details of our 317 endgame expansion with you very soon. So in the meantime, join us in taking a look back at some of the incredible fan art from community based on past Atlas expansions." So
yeah,
and they're so good.
I know, it's infuriating how good
so
they are.
I don't find it infuriating. What I do wish,
you need more bitterness in your heart, Justin.
Here's what they're so. This is why I love them. If people are doing this kind of art, and it's certainly focused around Path of Exile, I want them to post a link to like a service or something. Like whenever we're doing, so we've done Christmas cards, we've done Path of Exile cards, we've done for our Patreon side of things. I'm always looking for someone to do a lot of the art that we do. I would love to find a link to some of these people to be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Could you do it? Because their stuff is just unbelievable. Like literally in this particular one that they linked, every single one of them is just bananas good.
We should do that
so
next time. Bookmark
good.
some of these because they have their, like you can right click on them, right? And it actually brings them to their profile. So hopefully they check their private messages. Crazy. But yeah, that's a good idea.
Hopefully more than I do.
Oh, like that person that I was talking about that crocheted the monster, the pet for the challenges.
Oh yeah.
How cool would that be?
Yeah, sell it.
Yeah.
Sell it.
Well, they do.
What an Etsy thing? Do they? Oh, do they?
It was on Ravelry. I should buy one for my wife.
That's like an Etsy thing, right?
Sort of.
It's like
yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's
they actually sell the finished product, or
well, you say you want it and then they sell it and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I want it. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, you just want it,
and then they'll sell it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
cool.
Anyway, the fact that it was an Atlas themed fan art thing kind of made me think that change is coming, more on the bigger side than the smaller side. And to go with that, of course, we actually did get the February expansion date reveal, which is
right,
sweet.
as well as the live stream.
All right, the live stream, I forgot the date.
27th of January.
Ooh, and then the league launch on PC is February 4.
February 4th. Yep, and then 5 days later for those console lovers.
That's right. So it was only a 20-second teaser.
Siege of the Atlas.
Yeah.
Siege of the Atlas is
Oh,
what
so
it's
you
called.
know
what were you going
change
to say?
is
What did you get so
coming.
excited?
Well, there's a few things I want to say, but the reason that I think the reveal, like the actual trailer is coming soon before the 27th is because Bex tweeted something out just yesterday, the day before, that says, hope you're ready for some more Camille action or something like that. It was something about like, hope you're excited for the next Camille thing.
Sure.
Right. But I mean, you're not going to do that, tweet that 2 weeks before. And
it'll be, I'm sure,
was,
before
and
the
I doubt,
27th.
and it was before this teaser came out, but this teaser isn't really music. It's just like intense, watch out,
Sound.
Yeah. So anyway, next week, I hope.
So they did the expansion date reveal. They released this little date reveal with their short little video, and the video is awesome. That every time it's the same. We talk about this all the time. Camille's always in my thoughts when I'm trying to watch these videos because I'm listening for stuff.
Yeah, he's pretty cute.
And this one, it's all at the very, super cute. I mean, that smile, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the very end, it's just got really good. I don't know what the word is, but I just love the sound effects that are happening as that trailer ends. It's not a trailer. It's like a trailer of a trailer. It's a teaser of a trailer. It's very short.
But they had cool
20
things.
seconds load.
They had things for the ultimate nerds in us, and they did it, and they do it on purpose, and I love it. First thing.
Hold on. This is I just want to say, because I watched it, and my first thought was, and I said to Tyler, I am a PoE nerd, but I am not even close to as good as some people are at being a PoE nerd, because I watched it. Had I not known anything else, no, I didn't have, we weren't part of a Discord and community of people. I would have been like, all right, cool. Let's see what happens on the 27th.
I love the fact that, all right.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Let's do it. I'm like scrolling through Discord, and there's people that are taking freeze frame shots of like a flash of something that just happened and trying to figure out what that is. I promise it would not have even crossed my mind to try and pause it on one of those frames. So I appreciate the fact that people did it, because it gave me a chance to see some of it.
Before you get to those pause screen things, because I actually think they're worth talking about, did you recognize the monster in the video?
No.
One of the support packs.
It looked like an octopus.
Right. Remember there was the portal?
Oh, was it one of them?
The bubblehead? We referenced the weird bubblehead.
Yes. Was that the guy?
Yeah.
Didn't they say something about they are coming? Didn't I hear something like, maybe it was a tweet or something about they are coming?
Maybe. Well, I mean, we know there's 5 support packs. and everybody's already
and
thinking
we had guessed that
bosses.
they were somehow related to, something endgamey or Atlasy, obviously. Oh, I didn't notice that it was that same guy.
They probably work at the daycare that Maven's from. That's probably it. I'm never going to get over the fact that our whole in-game experience revolved around a child.
A child.
And child games. I'm never going to get over that. So now I'm joking around in my head like, okay, well, so this is going to be Maven's mom, and then this is Maven's daddy, and then this is Maven's Sunday school teacher, and then this is Maven's...
And are they mad that we killed her, or what are they mad
I don't know,
about?
maybe they're actually really bitter parents, and they're like, you didn't give enough life regen to those bosses, so we're stepping up.
Yeah, it's times 10.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, I didn't notice that. That's cool that was one of the characters. Was it the highest tier one?
No,
it wasn't, though.
Third, I think. Second.
Interesting.
I think it was the middle one or the second most expensive one. And it's not your character. It's actually represented in the portal.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of
interesting. I didn't notice it was that same person. That's cool, though.
So there's two things that our Discord screenshotted, and I absolutely love it when people do that. So take all the screenshots you want. Somebody took a screenshot and posted it, and I'm like, yeah, I saw that. I don't see anything. And then they said in a message a little bit lower, look, there's a face with wings in the background. Like a really dim outline of face and wings. It's almost like Batman, but obviously that's not in our game. And so people are like, oh, well, that's Maven or whatever, but I don't know, lurking in the background. Ooh.
I looked at it on my phone and I had to like get really close to it to try and see. And then I was like, oh yeah, okay, there's like a face, and I didn't recognize it.
Yeah,
it didn't look familiar.
And then what else was there? Right, somebody did. I'm pretty sure you could see it if you watch it quickly, and you can. Somebody screenshotted it. The new Atlas per se screenshot, like the new like compass looking thing. So good.
Oh,
yeah, just so good. Hang on a second here.
Huh.
Awesome.
What?
Well, I wanted to shout them out. I keep saying somebody in our Discord, but we do shout people out a lot. And so I just I know everybody wants to do the screenshot stuff, but Greg from our Discord took the screenshot of the new like compass Atlas look that looked really cool, that quickly flashed on the screen. It looks really epic. And then, sorry if I say this wrong, Baylina took the screenshot of the Maven or the Raven in the background. It does look like it's like the representation of Maven, but what she would be doing lurking in the background overseeing stuff. So maybe it's Maven's mom. But anyway, thank you both for that. That was awesome. It got my, I was going to say nerd juices flowing, but that doesn't sound very good. It got me going. It got me going, which would have sounded legitimate if I didn't say nerd juices ahead of time.
Yeah, the Atlasy thing looks cool. It doesn't make any sense for how our current Atlas and map works, though. So, or the Atlas. I
don't know. Maybe we'll be meeting
it'd be cool.
Maybe we'll be meeting in the middle again.
Why does it all look like minotaurs around the outside edge?
Kind of, right? Like it kind of looks like you see Shaper's coming back, punching, kicking, and
that dude looks awesome as a boss, though. If that is one of the bosses, I hope it's the one thing that's actually one of the things that is a downside to PoE. Is the angle that you play PoE, which we both like. That's the way that you play an ARPG. But can you imagine Dark Souls version of fighting a boss that looks like that? Like, you don't get to really experience how cool some of the bosses look in the ARPG style because you're in that 3/4 up, whatever they call it, view. So you're kind of getting the top down look. But looking at that dude head on, he looks terrifying.
Yeah. Now, then again, though, if you go in with Dark Souls literally, then it's like, you're going to be caught in the camera against a wall in the corner. You're going to like see the inside of the boss of the bubblehead. Anyway, I know what you mean.
Maybe it'd be cool then if there was like a one time that you could replay a cutscene when you got to some cool bosses where the cutscene was that 3D, something that you could maybe replay. It saves in the, how like some games have like a cinematic option within the menu that you can go back later and see ones that you've unlocked.
Yeah, they could put that right beside the concordance of what all the effect icons are.
Yeah, see, I don't care about that stuff. I don't know.
Just let me see the video.
Let me see the video of that cool boss.
Blizzard's good for that. Blizzard's good for having that video section in the main menu where you can rewatch all their epic videos, and they are good at their videos.
It would be cool the first time you go into like a boss arena for some of the epic bosses that it cut you to a cutscene. There's like one cutscene in all of Path of Exile. and it's when you first kill
Kitava. Oh no, when you awaken
innocence.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and it's Kitava coming
it's
out.
The only time that there's a cutscene in the game.
Yeah.
And if you click even a little too fast, it's instantly gone.
Yeah. You can get it again though. You can click on Sin and click on the dialogue option and it'll show up. But yeah, it is.
But it would be cool to have something where as you enter into like these new epic big, especially end game boss type things, to get a real sense of what they are in that 3D space of like being level with them.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
And GGG, if you listen to this, it's not a waste of space to do that. People
that's awesome.
Watch boss videos all the time. Some people are skippers. Some stupid people are skippers. But I'm the type of person...
You don't skip the first time, though.
Never.
You at least watch the first time. Like when I played Final Fantasy, the online one, people would get mad because it was the first time I played. So I would go into these things, and every time you'd get to a new area and a boss in a group one, it would be a cutscene. I'm like, sit back. I'm going to watch this.
And everybody's like wanting to skip.
After you finish, people are like yelling and freaking out, but I don't care.
Yeah. And I could see some companies being like, no, it's just a waste of resources because you're only going to see it twice and then you're just going to skip it for forever because of the replay value of Path of Exile. But for me,
maybe
I play Dark Souls a ton and I still don't skip videos. Every single time I watch Ornstein or Smog smash the other one and steal their powers.
Yeah. So good.
Every single time I see like Gwendolyn, like expanding or, contracting the hallway, like every time oh man, it's so good.
And it's not even a suggestion for all the bosses, just like you've got new main Atlas endgame bosses. That's where I think you should be doing it for. Anything that's like a big thing, it would be really cool.
Pretty sure Justin meant every boss. All 100 map bosses and the big bosses.
There's too many regurgitated bosses, so I don't care about that.
True.
But I think for like new big endgame, God, that'd be so cool to enter an arena and all of a sudden just you're in a cutscene. I would.
Oh, totally.
My nerd juices would be flowing like crazy.
We know the title for this podcast. But no, think about it. Like, even if you kept them, like for your Shaper fight, even at Ziri. Like, imagine if they, but you keep the old one. Don't make it new. So
don't change
keep
it.
the old one. So now it's like 7 years old. This was our end game boss. And even like if it was for something like the Val Architect that used to be the end game boss.
Right. Yeah, you may as well keep it once you've got it. Sure.
But I mean, how neat, and then how cool would that be to have like that transition of history, but within the game itself?
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow, they really screwed that up.
Yeah. It's coming. That's PoE 2. I think it would be awesome though. I hope that's something they eventually do, because that picture in the video looks so cool at that like head level version with the boss, but you just don't get that when you play the game. You lose out on that visual. So
very good point.
It'd be really cool to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah,
though.
it is.
I'm looking forward to it.
And I'm expecting there's going to be some core changes. Obviously, that'll be revealed on January 27th. You said January 27th.
Yeah. We're popping into a new topic here real quick. I'm really hoping that everybody listening is hearing everything just fine. I will hopefully, if it is in the recording, be able to fix it. But we played with some audio settings, and it's either Discord, which I'm hoping is just Discord.
Am I crackling?
Yeah, tons. But I think it's just Discord. So I'll check the recording after. I can fix that stuff though anyway, because I'm a magician. But I'm hoping that
that's why we're at
48,000
last time. That's what fixed it.
Yeah, that might be right. So I don't think it was ever in the recording though. I think it was just Discord. It always sucked with Discord. Discord's weird with how it likes to deal with audio. So anyway, hopefully that's all good. All right, what do we got? Core changes. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like I mean, they're not just going to change endgame. They always change core changes as well when it comes to like the new stuff. Like that's where they do end game and something big, and they're obviously ramping up for trying to make the game as on par as possible for PoE 1 for when PoE 2 comes out. So even though I was talking last episode maybe that I don't want core changes because it's just so hard to like keep guides going and characters that I like, theory craft at the end of a league, because there's a possibility it's just going to be screwed next league, like a major mechanic might be different. So as excited as I get for core changes, I like them to be rare, not frequent, but I understand that there probably is going to be frequent core changes until PoE 2 comes out. And sometimes they really nail it. Like, for example, a good example would be they completely revamped flasks.
Do you think they nailed flasks?
Well, now I think flasks are awesome. Like it changed, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they came out one league. They didn't like
2
how
leagues ago.
they did it. And so then the league after that was when they made the rest of the fixes for flasks. And as far as I can tell, in terms of feedback and things that they've talked about, it's solid. I mean, maybe they'll make more changes, but from what we understand, they're happy with how flasks are now. They weren't last league, right? In Harvest, they have different flask enhancement options. So they take a core feature, side feature, but it's all integrated, right? It wasn't just they changed flasks, but now you don't interact with them with any other mechanics. When you have something like a Harvest thing that's interacting with the new mechanics of flasks and flask enchantments, that's really good foresight, right? That's a good core change that integrates well into the game, but you made new changes to help its integration. Awesome. But then there's other core mechanics that are extremely exciting that, in my mind anyway, they completely fail on. For example, there's that Atlas passive that lets you do multiple build to metamorph monsters in one map. So it's like you use Tane, right? You guarantee that you get the metamorph instance. You go through, Tane shows up, you kill your boss, and then Tane lets you build another one. Awesome. Like that's what I invested these hard-earned points for. Let me do it. But they don't guarantee that you'll get at least 2 of every body part. So you can do that function, but then they'll still just randomly roll. Nope, you only got 1 head. Sorry, I know you'd like to build a second one. You have permission to, but you can't get another headpiece because there was only 1 in the map. And so there's some things where they kind of fail on when adding mechanics to a core part of the game.
In that particular one, it's weird to me that they don't just leave them all. You could use the exact same ones if you wanted to. Rebuild it's kind of weird to me that they didn't just do that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Or yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a few different fixes that they could do, but so there's an example of one where there was a lot of foresight. There's an example of one where, I mean, in my opinion anyway, they drop the ball in making the modifications to make it a good implementation. So all I'm hoping for is that this coming end game, the core changes will be thoroughly scoured. You know what I mean? It'll be really nicely integrated. Obviously, it just seems like there's going to be a lot of change, and obviously the hype makes that a lot greater in our minds. But I'm really hoping.
Well, when you say a lot of change, do you mean, because I see it to me, the obvious part is there's a lot of end game changes coming. I wouldn't say that based on anything I would think there's any major core changes. I love core changes, but I don't think they put anything out yet that says like, hey guys, life is going away.
No, it's an assumption on my part for the core changes, but either way, there will be massive changes to how the game interacts if end game changes dramatically, right?
Yep.
So like for me, for example, when you have an Atlas system that revolves around regions, it would be nice to be able to discover your regions easier in your map tab. You know what I mean?
I'm just so excited for something new endgame. I don't even really care so much what it is. I'm just so excited to do something new in the endgame. We talked about it in a past episode. It was too dry for me. I didn't like how many fights you had to do to get to the real last boss, and it just wasn't enjoyable. I literally would rather have cut out all of that stuff and just been building the Atlas and focused on that instead, which you could do, but it just felt a little weird. So I'm very excited. I am just praying that it is something Shaper-ish. I can't tell you how much I loved the old version of Build to the Middle. I just really enjoyed that. I love the way that Atlas used to work. I don't know why. I just really liked it. I love the start on the outside. You're working to the middle. That's where you're going to get to this epic boss, and that's how you're going to unlock being able to fight him. I hope it's something as exciting to build your Atlas for.
Yeah. I like the current Atlas setup. And I do like the old Atlas setup as well. I'm not a fan of the bosses. I think they've done a very good job changing it. Like if this Atlas stayed the exact same, but they got rid of Cyrus and Maven's puzzle, great. I'm happy. I think that's awesome. I do.
Yeah, I don't think the Maven's puzzle is going
that
anywhere.
You don't have to have the possibility of drops from bosses to be able to access the boss, but at the same time, I like to be able to buy the boss to practice it. You know, like I probably would have been able to beat Cyrus now if I could buy the pieces because I could practice Cyrus and then choose the awakening level based on my watchstone setup, but I haven't been able to, and it is a grind, and that's fine. That's why we play the game, but I don't have time for that grind. And so now despite the fact that Cyrus has been around for 1 or 2 years, I haven't had the time to efficiently practice him. By the time I'm getting used to him, I'm done my 5th portal, and I'm like, okay, sweet. Oh, shoot, it's that 3rd stage. Haven't gotten used to the 3rd stage yet. Die. Oh, so.
I would like to see, I know most people would probably completely disagree, or a lot of people would, but I would love to see an atlas where, let's say it was go back to starting on the outside, right? So you don't, which is what the shaper version of the atlas was. You started on the outside, you worked your way to the middle, or either, whatever. You start in the middle or start on the outside. But instead of right now where it's better with the 4 quadrants, because with the 8, you used to have to like try and, if you were trying to maximize it, you would try and race to the outside 4 corners so you could unlock the conquerors, and then you'd work your way through with the what are the orbs that I can't even think right now that increase the watchstones. What would be really cool, and this is definitely more so just to the way that I play the atlas, but let's say you started on the outside, and the way to get towards that end game was to actually, the more progression you did within the atlas is what spread your influence towards the middle. So instead of there being this like path that you could follow right to the middle, it was the more maps you completed within that quadrant is what increased your influence more towards the center. Because I don't like to do an atlas where it's like, well, if I do these 4 maps within a quadrant of like 30, or it's not 30 anymore, but within a quadrant of like 20, 25, you can actually progress the entire thing along by doing very few of the maps, which means you're not unlocking the other ones. You're not getting to play the other ones. I love to just play the maps that I haven't done yet and unlock the atlas. And it'd be cool if, as I did that, that's what progressed my actual atlas progression. Like in my head, I have this idea of like the shaper or the elder style influence slowly creeping towards the middle as I complete more maps. And as I complete more maps, it's unlocking maps as it moves more towards the middle. I don't know. I want something that's more focused around the atlas side of completion stuff versus like what. And I know people will go like, well, we want the way to min max it and go straight to this. And I don't want that. I want something that lets me chill out, build up the atlas, give me a purpose and a reason to do it besides, the 100 and whatever the increase percentage is for the drops. But I don't know. I want to see an atlas that's like more fluid, that has like a purpose to why you're doing them.
Yeah. You don't feel like that now, hey? Like I like that you can do race course at level 3 and at T15.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I love the idea that you can do that. But what I don't like is if you take one of those quadrants, right? So I don't know, Haywork. I can progress Haywork all the way to the tier 15 and tier 16 maps while only actually completing 5 of those maps.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
4 of those maps in that whole section, which I don't really like that. I actually found that it pigeonholed me a lot because if I got, so I get the watchstone, I upgrade it. I felt like it was a lot harder to then progress the atlas at that point to get the other drops because the maps that were just dropping were maps I already had. So I was just constantly doing the same 4 or 5 maps in a quadrant. It was really hard to progress outwards to maps that I had not done yet. And that's not the way I like to play the atlas. I do not want to have to play the same 5 maps over and over. Granted, there's maps I hate, I don't want to do, but I would much rather have the ability for there to be a purpose to expanding the atlas.
Yeah, makes sense.
You don't need to expand the atlas in order to play the Conquerors and Cyrus. You don't.
You need to
have
do
very
maps,
few unlocked.
but right. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. And you like the idea of the more different maps you do encourages the progress in the
There's
atlas.
some benefit.
Yeah.
Besides,
or
there
within
is,
the
which there is
region,
right now.
or within the region. Yeah, I guess region progress provides region specific progress. I understand. Yeah.
There is a benefit to completing as many maps as you can because you're getting the completion bonus and you're getting all that extra percentage for more map drops. But I don't want that to be the reason I'm doing it. I would rather there's something within the atlas that's causing me to want to do it. But regardless of what it is, I'm very excited to do something new in the end game.
And well, think about how blown away we were with the mastery system this go around. I mean, in retrospect, that idea might sound simple. I have no idea how implementing it, how simple or complicated that is, but that was mind blowing. That wasn't something anybody really considered, as far as I know, in terms of a conversation, a popular idea on Reddit, who knows, but like that was pretty mind blowing, that type of creativity within a tree that seemed so, I don't know, predetermined, I guess, like set in stone, despite the fact that they make their changes. It's just like, that's the tree. Cluster jewels were mind blowing. Now the mastery system. So I don't doubt their ability to be extremely creative with what they already have, but adding something that just completely enhances the experience for the end game Atlas system, right? If they can do those two things that people aren't even thinking about to the passive tree, I mean, I'm pretty excited for this.
I had nothing to talk about for PoE week, so why don't you tell me about your PoE week? I love that this is probably our last topic of the day, is something that used to be one of our first ones.
I'll skip.
Did you play PoE this week?
No, it was all in my head, but I haven't.
What?
It was all in my head. I didn't act. I played. I think one session. Yeah, it was mostly. Yeah. But it would be. So the question I would have a question for you, because I didn't actually play much this week. You want me to ask it?
Go for it. Yeah.
Influenced gear in solo self-found. So what I've been doing, because my wife's been mostly on the computer and then my TV's been occupied, it's been a nice week, but it's been like a laid back week. It hasn't really involved too much gaming. But I've been doing a lot of thinking during chores now that it's been a normal school week. And I've been thinking about, like I mentioned last week, having a min-maxed character for my guides as an example, and then a bare minimum example so I'd have like 2 characters per guides that people can observe. So I'm thinking, okay, so I'm going through and I'm going to be putting into my guides which which influences for gear I prefer, like the mods for just basics, life resists, minion damage that you can easily craft. And then I want an elder amulet and I want a hunter belt and I want this, that, and another thing for both of my builds. And to me right now, like the reason that I really haven't been too hands-on about it is I'm nervous about more core changes. I'm going to put how many hours of work into this, and then they're going to change something. I mean, influence might change because the bosses might change, right? Do you get rid of Cyrus, but keep these conquerors? I don't know. So is influence going to change? Is the conqueror's exalt going to turn into a nullifier exalt? I don't know. So it's kind of hard to go through with a lot of enthusiasm right now. I still really enjoy it, but I'm like, maybe it's not even going to happen. So here's the thing. In solo, so I'm going through and I'm deciding, okay, I definitely want an elder amulet for my bone zombie build, because an elder amulet lets you get +1 to zombies. Awesome. That's a shoe-in for me. In solo self-found, so not trade, what would be your expectation long-term for your character? Do you think it would make sense for a well-rounded character to have a lot of influenced items? Or do you think that actually wrecks a character because of how you make gear solo self-found when it comes to influenced? You might get a very rare roll where it's like, sweet, I got 2 good influenced mods and a really high life mod. But most of the time, you have your influence, right? Like, so for example, use this amulet that I'm using with +1 zombies. I'd find an elder amulet. Awesome. It's going to be a normal amulet. I'm going to transmute it so that it's magic, and then I'm going to use an alteration until I find +1 zombies. Awesome. Then I'm going to craft life on it. You know what I mean? Or then I'm going to regal it, hope I still have a free thing, and I'm going to do my best. Maybe I'll use some exalts, 3 exalts, to get the extra modifiers that I can craft on it, but it's going to be life and resist, right? So outside of that perfect drop, that's how you're getting your gear in solo self-found. Do you think having a lot of gear like that is overly beneficial, or do you think it's more of a consequence? How many influence gear do you think you'd roll with? That kind of stuff.
Well, I think it's always beneficial as an option for what you should strive for later on. Because I think the problem is solo self-found means something different to everybody. Some people, if you're playing solo self-found with limited time, it's unlikely you're going to see something like that. Very unlikely. But if you're playing solo self-found and you have more time to play, you can gear your character up very well in solo self-found with enough time. You just can. There's lots of drops. You're going to get lots of influenced items. You're going to have lots of currency to roll it. It's all going to come down to how much time you can put into the game. I think that that's always something good to have as something to strive for.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because there's always a better piece of gear You're never going to have the best. So having something that's something to aim for, I think that's a good thing.
You smart, man. You smart.
Do you not like planning around influence
Well,
stuff?
I see, as a guide writer, I do my best to be as open-minded as possible, but I'm always planning my builds around my time and my ability. So I, in my guides, for the most part, have always worded, designed, and helped people with up to what I've been capable of having time for. And then I'm not apathetic towards it, but I'm just like, if you have the time to do this, go ahead and do it. And good luck. I make my builds are based around the core element of the build. You want to change it, you go have a good time by yourself, and that's fine.
I think having in a build the option of like, hey, this is the stuff to strive for. I might not plan around this for my builds each time, but if I had a magic wand and could give myself what I want, this is what I would be aiming for, because then it gives that person playing your build with more time,
I like that.
something to like, just a thought in their head to be like, well, I'm already at this point. What's the next thing I should be looking for as an upgrade? I think the benefit too is you may get less people going, so I've got this. What do I, what could I do to improve it? What could I do? Now you've got like something where it's, so you've already got something written out there for them to strive for.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that was it. That was my PoE week.
Awesome.
Meditating on influences and then being scared that it was all going to be a waste of time because new influences are coming.
That will be interesting to see what they do with influence, because I don't see them getting rid of influence. It would even be weird for them to just all of a sudden become a new type of influence because it was a different boss. So that will be kind of interesting to see what they do with that, because I don't see that just disappearing. I cannot imagine influences are going away.
That means the conquerors aren't going anywhere. And do you have conquerors without Cyrus? Maybe Cyrus will stick in as like a side piece where you get fragments for or something like you do at Ziri.
Yeah, it might not be leaving. I don't know what they'll do. It'll be interesting to see how they play with the influence, but I didn't really think about that. But it'll be interesting to see what they do once it comes out. It's so fun. This is the fun stuff about a new league. You get to sit around for a while and be like, well, maybe, and then it comes out, and if you're a normal human, you get excited about it and you get ready to play it. So
my father-in-law, he loves nerding out about comic stuff. Absolutely loves it, like this Marvel and DC stuff. And so anytime he realizes he's totally nerding out with his family, he always like goes, ha, Glaven. And so that's what I feel like right now. Glaven.
What is that from? Something?
It probably is for them, but I've never asked where Glaven's from.
Awesome.
So Glaven.
You just do it anyway. That's awesome. So, it's an inside joke you're not a part of.
I don't even know it, and I laugh about it every time. Well, that's what happens though with in-law stuff. You don't never want to look like an idiot, so you're just like.
Well, mine speaks Spanish, so yeah, I feel like an idiot quite often. They can talk. Did I tell you I'm learning Spanish?
Really? How long have you been married?
Well, I know Spanish. I can hear it and understand a bit. Like we went to Peru for a while, and I can understand.
That's not how you say it. So just it's like Peru.
But I wanted to actually more get involved with learning it. Plus, I one of the books I'm reading is talking about the importance of keeping your brain healthy as you get older, especially.
I thought it was like a marriage
things
book,
you can do,
like caring about your spouse.
No,
okay,
I got that. Is trying to keep your brain healthy though, and one of the best ways to do that is actually trying to learn a language. And I'm like, well, I've got English, I've got a bit of French. I know more Spanish than I do French, but I figured I would actually start.
Oh, just so what are you using? Are you using one of those apps?
I'm doing Duolingo. Yeah. I actually paid for it.
Oh,
it's not cheap. I was like, holy crap. So it was a commitment. I'm like, well, I'm paying for this for a year. So
good for you.
I'm going to actually do it. So anyway, all right, let's wrap this up. Episode 119, Forever Exiled, the Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, A.K. Tags.
I'm Glaven. No, maybe it's the name of a sword.
I don't even know what it is.
I'm Record Days.
It's like insanely offensive.
What? It's so rude or racist or something. Oh man, I hope not. If it means something, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You didn't know. Thanks so much for joining us. You guys are awesome. If you're looking for more information, you can find it down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have a Discord, which you should be in because it's awesome. And our Patreon and other information's down below. Patrons will catch you in After Dark, and everybody else, 120 episode next week. Bye.
What? We get like culture canceled.
Yeah, it's coming.